well, Minibox is being leaked, and so we gotta do the reaction thing and farm some views. Okay, so still vertical cost pretty trash. Summon art is impactful to some extent because it does help Clifford. So having this as a free off would really help around. If it gets released as a one-off, it's gonna suck a little bit. Probably the deck is cope by itself, but hey, you know, having 3 summoners art isn't bad. You can add other stuff, you know, that isn't Scout if you want to. It adds Dark Magician if you want to, but even though we have already a lot of means to add it. Zama's Spirit is just annoying. I don't want it to be released as a free off because it's just annoying, like for burn decks and stuff. Like, it forces situations that you don't want to face. It's not a good card by any means. It gets destroyed by Harpy, so and we don't really care about it, but still. Skybase would be good if it had 100 more attack. That's all I need to say. It just gets outed by pretty much everything. Like gloves, a glove summon breaks for just outs it, so it's too much effort for a card that doesn't actually do anything. This is funny for Gandora enjoyers. The skill actually makes this a little bit playable. Now, is it good? No, it just dies to Book of Moon, and that's all I have to say. This is just Curse Necrophere, I don't want to talk about it, it's just too much text. Now, Jinza cards are being released. I like them, they're fine. Not Reflect Bounder, we're looking at Psychic Bounder, which is the retrained version of Reflect Bounder. This is basically the Nab. It has Jinzo, or it has a spell of Trap, so it's better than the Nab, I guess. It's fine, it's the normal summon you want to get. It's also 1700 beat stick, which runs over most Harpies, which is relevant. It runs over Kanahawk, so again, it's pretty relevant. So yeah, it's a fine monster. It adds some okay cards. Most of the times you will add Low of the Cosmos if you don't have it already. It can add on a pinch, it can add like Cyber Energy Shock, which isn't too bad. I don't think there are any other like really great targets for this, so I don't know. I guess we just have that, you know. Psychic Mega Cyber is another like way for Jinzo to play. It's an extender basically. If your opponent counters Mars Spell and Trust in you, just summon it. And it's a level 6, so you can make exercises with Pat and Jinzo. It's okay. It has a like weird removal effect, which I don't think it's gonna come up that often, but if it does, it does. Power to you. So, let's talk about the actual Clifford deck, which probably won't run Skybase because there are better cards to turbo out than Skybase. Non-ironically, Obelisk is probably better than this. Okay, so like the Clifford deck is a little bit awkward. It's not in a good position right now because it's a Pendulum deck and Harp is a thing. But what it is, it's a Pendulum deck that doesn't immediately die to Floodgate, because why would you Floodgate the Pendulum summon of this deck? It doesn't actually do anything. And you run a lot of tributes, which is what you want to do. The other thing is Stealth doesn't care about Floodgate, but that only happens in case Chain Links work as intended, because there is a big question mark right now, which is why you won't see a lot of people testing the deck right now before it gets released, because again there is this question mark of how Stealth is gonna be chained to other Cliffords, so like Carrier, because I don't think people are gonna be running Helix. Because if you don't know, Stealth has an effect that when he's tribute summoned, he spins a card on the field, and your opponent can't respond to the effect. But Carrier has an effect that when he gets tributed, it spins a monster. So, depending on how this chain will work, this might make the deck more than playable. If it doesn't work, so like if it's Chainlink 1 Stealth, Chainlink 2 Carrier, then sometimes you gotta click non-carrier, and that sucks a little bit. I don't think you really wanna do that. Besides, the deck is okay. I think it suffers a problem of wanting to run a lot of back row, but not really being able to, because the engine is not small, I'd say. Like, you're running a fairly big engine, unless you really want to like cope on carrier control, which you could do theoretically. You could run just like scouts, carriers, and that's it. And just like run ballistas and try to control the board like that. I don't think that's probably the most worth way to play the deck. Probably the engine is gonna be like 3 scouts, 3 carriers. If we have 3 summoners arts, we're probably running 3, like 1 or 2 stealth, which is a scale 1, so it does help around. I don't think people are interested in running monolith. I'm pretty sure 1 would be okay. And I don't know about the sacrifice stuff, because sacrifice is a really good card, but it doesn't really help too much with what the deck wants to do, which is controlling the board and then like going off like later on. Well, like sacrifice like makes it easier to go off, but at the same time like you won't really kill your opponent, so I don't know about it. And also sacrifice has the same problem as carrier. It has an effect when it goes to the graveyard, so we gotta see like how stealth chain. I don't think Helix is gonna be run because, or at least it's not gonna be run as more than a one-off. Simply because it's not worth it to scale. It's a scale 9. You wanna have Scout as your scale 9, which means that his only utility is being summoned and like being tributed for the pop effect. So I don't know. Pops backer, by the way, and all monsters. So in some metas I can see this being run. This is funny because people see it as the game ender, but I don't think it's gonna act that way, because contrary to stealth, which, you know, like your opponent can't respond to it and stuff, theoretically, if chain links work like they're intended to work, Disc just brings from deck, and yes, it does like put lethal on board, but you can just book the monsters that get summoned from the deck. So I don't know about that one, chief, because like, and you can book the disc itself if you want to. So again, I don't know. The rest of the deck is whatever. Like I don't think people are gonna be running Shell, Cephalopod, or you know the Clifford spells. They're probably not worth it. Clipper Launch is interesting, but don't think it's gonna be run. It makes them unaffected by spell traps, which is whatever. The thing is, it says currently on the field, which is kind of bad, because if it wasn't, if it didn't work like that, if it just made your guys immune, then maybe it would be okay, but it doesn't, so kind of sucks. We're gonna go over the generic stuff. Diamond Kernel is whatever. Spirit Reaper is funny, but I think it's pretty late for it. Echo Oscillation is pretty garbage. Pod of Riches is interesting, but I don't see any other deck, like other the Metalfoes, running this as a one-off at best. Probably nobody's gonna run this, but if you want to, you can probably run it in Metalfoes. It's the only deck that like actually sets up like Pendulum in the graveyard and in the extra deck like really quickly. So I don't really know. And also the thing is, this is a card that you will use at turn 3, because it has a restriction, which is pretty bad. Because you can only special summon by Pendulum Summoning, which means that you can't fuse. So if you fuse and put monsters in the graveyard, then you can't like Pot of Riches them back immediately. You gotta do it later, so I don't know about it. Mazona's Village is powercraft, but it's still kind of funny. It messes up with some decks, so hey, if you're an Amazonas player, now you can play Village. You waited for this for years, now it's being released. Deal with it. Jinzo Layered is actually pretty cool XYZ. It's a generic, which means that you're not, you know, like forced to play this in Jinzo. Especially since it doesn't really, you know, synergize with the Jinzo deck itself, besides for, you know, being a machine level 6 XOZ. It's an okay card. Unfortunately, we are past like the time of Ononats, which this would have probably been played in, since it's It's a pretty good card. That's a pretty good effect. We don't really have a lot of rank 6 decks in the meta, and if you are playing a rank 6 deck, I wouldn't see a reason why you would play this instead of Rhinoceros. Unless, you know, you can't play Rhinoceros in that case, then yeah, this is probably fine. Pet Liger is useless, we're not gonna talk about it. The Legendary Fisherman free is actually insane, the only problem is you gotta play the Legendary Fisherman. These are okay, nobody's gonna run Skull Servant anyways. Low of the Cosmos works with the Jinzo stuff that is being released in the box. It's not bad, it's also not good. I can see maybe some people like, you know, topping Balfiz with this. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, maybe they will win KC, but I don't think so. Deck looks pretty funny, but not that good. Then Imperial Tombs of Necroval is being released, which is fairly annoying, but again, you gotta be playing Gravekeeper. Like, yes, Commandant is insane, obviously. Like, Commandant is absolutely insane in the box, and it does help Gravekeepers a lot. Again, like, the only problem is you are playing Gravekeepers, you know? Like, here, if you play Gravekeepers, the deck isn't that good. It's pretty memed, I'd say. You can open FTK hands with this. It is very possible that you just open an FTK hand. But if you don't, then you're just playing like a bad deck, so deal with it. Sometimes you're just gonna open Insane and like open Fusion, Necroball, and Imperial Tombs, and in that case, yeah, you're a god. You just win. But if you don't, good luck. All of these cards are whatever. Saber Energy Shock is actually pretty interesting, I'd say. It's probably gonna be a one-off in the Jinzo deck, because if you already have stuff in your hand, you can search this off of Bounder, and it has a decent effect. You gotta control Jinzo, unfortunately, which kinda sucks, but it's not too hard to bring it out, I'd say. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We have nothing else, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure we got like Ryza leaked, so like the Ryza from the selection box should be here, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I just saw it. Like, I just saw it this morning, so I don't know. I don't want to count the super rares to see if it's the actual number of super rares in a mini box. I don't want to do that, so I'll just not do it. So like somewhere around here, we should have a Ryza. I don't know about it. And I certainly don't care because I got like 5 of them. Not really, actually. I just got 2. We are getting Tiesto di Bakura. His skills are okay, but I don't think none of these are gonna be played. They're interesting. They definitely make for some fun decks, but I don't think like any meta deck is gonna run this, and I don't think the meta is changing with this mini box. Going into KC, we're gonna have the usual meta. Don't expect any of the deck from this box top. I will be surprised if any of them do. Even before Gravekeepers wins KC, might happen. Someone just opens Broken every game. And that's pretty much all I have to say. So see you.